But right now, we do have a show announcement. And for that show announcement, I will throw it to my partner, Norm Hitzges.
Thank you, Donnie. Thank you very much. I don't know how to say goodbye to you. I've thought about this for weeks now. And I don't know how to say goodbye to you. Today I'm announcing my retirement. I will work one more week at the Ticket, and my last day will be next Friday, June 23rd. I want to assure you, this is not health related. So many of you have helped carry me through the last 3 years or so in which there were some serious health minutes. But it's not health related. Know that you always understand that a moment like this is coming. It's coming for all of us. Donnie and I talked about it yesterday. Jub and I talked about it on the phone. You don't know exactly when, but I think in all of us who have become addicted to this job, there's a dread that comes with it. Strangely, after telling my showmates yesterday morning, and then telling, it must have been 70 or 80 people in the staff room yesterday afternoon, I feel pretty content about this. You have no idea how much I love this job. But there's a next chapter in my life. I will write. I will start a podcast in September. I will travel with my Mary. I will come back to the Ticket. This isn't me leaving here forever. I'll do fill-in work so Donnie can go to a Snoop Dogg concert. I'll do NBA and NFL draft. I'll do the Normathon. You must also understand that when Dan Bennett, my friend of 37 years now, we put together the KLIF morning show. It was the first all-sports morning show in a major market in America in 1986. My friend Dan Bennett asked me at KLIF to come down to the Ticket. And the memory fades now, 98, somewhere in there, okay? I didn't want to come here. I did not want to come here. But as Dan explained to me, I had this contract. This station has made me a better talk show host. I thought this station was full of wackos before I came down here. And now I've come to realize there were only one or two. I've come to respect these people so much. All of them. I've come to love them. I know it's fun for everybody to pit Gordon against me, but I've got to single him out for just a moment. I thought when I got here, Gordon was a dangerous wacko. Then I found out what an incredible brain he has. And then I found out that all that stuff on the air that sounds so wacky, that's the result of work. That's the result of a lot of work. I'm going to so miss the people here. I love Donnie and Sean, DJ and Tyler. Of all my years together, I think this is the best crew I've ever worked with. Because we're all so different, and yet we're all so blended. Approaching this day, there's this jumble of feelings. of sadness, of anticipation, of emotion, of excitement. And yes, there have been and will still probably be some moments of grief. I love this job. I love you out there for listening, for emailing, for calling, for writing letters. Thank you for letting me have 48 years of a voice in this city. What will retirement look like? Well, I'm not sure. I'll still get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Then I'll have coffee. Then I'll tear through the sports page. But other than Mary, I won't have anybody to talk to. And she's still not sure about the teams in this area, what they are. That has been 48 years now. Thank you. Thank all of you. This is a terrific city. These are wonderful fans. This may be the best city to do sports talk in this country. I could tick off all of the other major cities and talk about things that may make me uncomfortable doing work in those cities. But this is a beautiful place. I am ready for whatever is next. But I have loved you. And I will miss this place. I'll miss you. And none of you can imagine how much.
All right, let's come back. Let's have a post game. We'll be joined by the Musers. We'll discuss the station announcement that Norm is retiring from this job at the end of next week. We'll come back next. Ticket. And Norm will be missed big time. And we are joined in studio by the Musers, George, Craig, and Gordon.
I just went down to the Cumulus Cafe. You're telling me Norm's retired?
Yeah, in that short a time.
I thought we were doing Rangers here. What are we doing?
We were going to go stroke by stroke of the U.S. Open, but decided to do a post-game show with Norm announcing his retirement. Now, we did have a kind of awkward dismount yesterday as far as the birdhouse went, because usually that segment goes late. And we did have a meeting and no crosstalk, so I'm pretty sure all minds and ears were wondering what was going on. We did have a staff meeting yesterday, right at the end of the birdhouse in our program, so Norm announced his intentions to the staff in an all-staff meeting. So what do you guys think about when you heard the news? Norm is hanging up the old talk show boots.
Well, as I told him yesterday and repeated again just a minute ago, it ends the greatest talk show career in the history of our city and one of the greatest in the country. I haven't been listening to other talk show hosts since I was in high school, Norm.
I understand.
But I would guess for Craig, you are why we are here today in this job. We used to listen to you, look up to you.
Prank me.
Then we started competing against you. Yeah, Craig and his friends used to prank call you. But you are the greatest, and I just can't think of. I mean, there's Ron Chapman, there's Hal J, there's a few others, but outside of that, in this city, your radio career is just, as I told you a moment ago. I hope you can look back, and think job well done, because you've done an incredible job, and what you've done for the Austin Street Shelter is maybe your greatest legacy.
Thank you, Job.
Yeah, I'm going to miss you tremendously. As I told you yesterday, I'm very happy for you. I'm jealous that you're going into retirement. I think that's fantastic. But it's going to be sad not seeing you every day, because Norm and I go back further than anybody at the station. when I moved to Dallas in 1981, I'm in high school and I'm a sports fan, so I start listening to the sports talk shows. And it was back in the day, in 81, it was Brad Sham and Norm Hitzges. You were the two talk show titans in this town. And my high school buddy and I, we wanted to try to get on the air, so we would call Norm's show. We stopped calling Brad's show because we couldn't prank him because he had a delay. But Norm did not have a delay on WBAP, so we could get all our comments would go over the air.
Delays cost money now.
Plus, Norm would play with the pranksters. You know, he would kind of have fun with us and play along with us. And even though we were pranking him, you know, once or twice a week, or just trying to get on the show just so we could hear our voices. I remember one December, Norm's end of the year show on BAP. He said, "I want to thank all of our regular callers, Sterling and so-and-so and so-and-so and Craig and Quinson." You even mentioned us. So we had, you didn't really know it, but we had a relationship as far back as 1981. And Brad has, of course, continued in this town with an incredible career doing Cowboys games. But Norm has continued doing a talk show for all of that time, which all of us in this room, we know how hard it can be to do a talk show and what it demands out of you in a performance way and in a creative way every single day. And the fact that you have been doing it since I've been pranking you in high school is just amazing. And yes, George is right. You were an idol of mine and somebody that I wished I could be one day. And to get to work with you for 23 years now has just been an incredible journey.
By the way, as far as pranking me in high school, you ought to understand that Craig's hair is silver now.
That's right. That's how long you've been doing sports talk.
Well, I, for one, am glad you're retiring because this is my only shot at being the king of the e-break now. Because now you don't stand in my way to be number one at causing the station to stop down. No, I was a kid in my dad's car listening to Norm hour after hour. My dad was such a huge Norm P1, so I grew up listening to you. And you coming over here to this station after we had battled you for a while, we got off to our nice little rocky start. But it's been an absolute beautiful relationship, and I think that people don't understand how much you meant to this station coming over here and your authority and heritage, and just to have Norm Hitzges on our station was huge for our little station and still is. And what you added to the mix of our sitcom here in this family, this frat house that we run here, has been incalculable. Is that the right word?
Yeah,
incalculable, immeasurable.
Can't be measured. Yes.
Yeah, it cannot be measured. And it means a lot to not only the station, but I know you've meant a lot to all of us here personally. You know, we've traveled with you for decades now, been on the road. You've exposed us to things we wouldn't know otherwise. You've taken us to the racetrack. You know, the amount of topless establishments you've taken us all to. It's been so kind. Your mentoring that you've done over here. No, I think honestly, everyone up here loves you, Norm, and you know how fond we all are of you, and it's going to be very strange. We are absolutely going to miss you. Absolutely going to miss you on a personal level.
You know, I do know how fond you are of me. I do know how much you care for me. And know that that's returned in equal or higher amounts.
Can you still get me down on horse races?
Sure,
can I still call
George.
and we can?
Sure, that's easy.
Yeah, Venmo
Thank goodness
Norm
George
$20.
said something, because Norm was about to start pulling out envelopes and handing them out to people.
God.
What?
I knew it. I just knew it.
What?
Bingo!
Always comes back to Bud Dwyer.
Bingo!
This is Norm's Day.
My goodness.
This is Norm's Day. This is not Bud Dwyer's Day.
I don't
Boy,
know.
this
Norm's
is
going
Norm's
to
Day.
call Cat and complain about Gordon here after this segment.
Fire
He
him.
needs to be fired.
You know, this place is so much fun to work at. And we have such amazing ratings now. But if we could somehow broadcast during the break conversations, we would go through the literal roof in listenership.
Now that's content there.
Yes. Now, we would have to use the beep button.
I would have been forced to retire if we had some of the off-air conversations. This would be my announcement.
The FCC would just wake up every morning and turn us on and get their pad out and start writing down.
And we'd have to write check after check after that. Well, we're gonna. Well, Norm, I didn't ask you if I could say this, but I'm going to anyway. We are going to spend the rest of this week and all of next week as a celebration because Norm assured us yesterday and in this the announcement that it's not health related. So that's great. And he's going out on his own terms. So we're going to try our best to get a lot of people that's going to talk and reminisce with Norm in this last week full time on the air, as well as it should, because you've earned and deserved every bit of the praise that you're getting from not only the Musers, but everyone else that will try to, hopefully, that will join us next week so we can send you off the right way, man.
Yeah, we've hired a crew to run a phone line out to Kip Keno's house right now, like a dedicated phone line.
Do you know?
I think they're on anal air now, preparing to go over to
the new airline.
You know, we talked to Kip just a couple of weeks ago, and that's probably a person that Mary and I are going to go visit again. But for 40 years, I worked alone. I mean, there was a few months over at WFAA as Leon moved away from the evening show and down to the morning for a few months. And then it was me again, and it was me until Donnie. And that's
2015. I can still remember the Godfather-like conversation we had in your hotel room in Oxnard to see if we were going to get this thing going.
These are the rules.
I was really weirded out because,
first of all, ignore my nudity right now at this moment.
Norm was stretched out on the bed, and I was in the chair at the desk, and Kat was sitting on the other bed. And like, what's going on here? I don't know if I like this. I want to stay with Bob and Dan.
Did you guys do the hotel room game where you jump from bed to bed and see if you could
anal air
one?
See how far we could get. It's like a long jump. Just kind of laying in 10 feet. 10 feet, 3 inches.
You know, I admire you guys. We were at opposing stations for a while. And you knew an all-sports station was coming to Dallas. You just knew it. They'd popped up a few other places in major cities in America. And they were starting to get a foothold. And once you guys moved to the morning, with no disparagement to the person who used to be on the morning.
Here comes disparagement.
No disparagement. No. Okay.
But he was a trash host.
Once you guys moved to the morning, and once the afternoon was solidified, if you've got terrific morning and terrific afternoon, you've got the makings of a terrific station. And I am so proud to have been part of this with you, because this station has just gotten bigger and bigger and more impactful in our community. I mean, last year, how much over $1 million in charity did we raise last year?
A lot, and you were responsible for most of that.
About 75-80% of it.
Yes. You all have your charities, and you raise a ton of money for them. And there's so many of them. And that's what a powerful station should do.
Mm-hmm.
It should reach back out into its community and say, what can we do for you? And each of you, everybody at this station has done this. They've figured out, where can I reach back? And I've loved working here. You can't imagine how I'm going to miss this place. You just can't imagine.
It's going to be weird walking down the hallway before our show's done, about 30 minutes or so before you guys come in. And I always go in and talk to you, try to pump you up, do a little pep rally. That's just going to be so strange. Don't try to put me up. That's going to be so strange not seeing you there. And you say that, yeah, it was inevitable here where we're going to have sports talk radio. It wouldn't have happened if Norm Hitzges had not done morning drive radio on KLIF starting 1985. Was that the first year?
86, January of 86.
And
First one in the country.
Craig and I used to listen to that in college and think, this is amazing. Every day a sports show in the morning?
Yeah.
I mean, it was groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Well, Dan Bennett and Ed Bush, if you remember that name.
Oh, yeah.
Big name in our history in radio. And he was consulting about moving KLIF to talk, and full talk. And they came to see me and said, would you be interested? Because then I was working at Home Sports Entertainment. And I said, well, I love what I'm doing. I love doing Ranger baseball games. And I love doing Maverick basketball games and doing all sorts of other crazy stuff at HSC. About 6 announcers to do about 50 events. And I said, well, what about a sports talk show in the morning? And they mulled that over. And the idea started to grow legs, and suddenly we were on the air. And for 3 hours, we're going to be able to fill 3 hours, and now we fill 24 hours.
Yeah. You are the reason that we have to wake up at 4 a.m. now.
Thanks, Norm. But yeah, I mean, we would watch Norm the night before doing a Maverick or Ranger game, and then listen to him the next day.
Yeah.
I don't know how you did that. How many years did you do that? From 86 till when?
95.
Holy
Man.
cow.
The hardest year was the year at ESPN when I left the Ranger broadcast for 1 year and went to ESPN. And I was the first non-jock hired to do one of the big sports since Howard Cosell. And would do 2 baseball games a week on ESPN. And it was scattered all over the country. I might be in Cincinnati on Tuesday and San Diego on Friday. And then the next week, I'd be in Cleveland on Tuesday, and I'd be in Colorado on Friday. And I took the big case of stuff around with me and plugged it into I know how to do this. I know how to plug in the INS. ISN
Dual line comrade?
ISDN.
Yep, ISDN, thank you. I knew there were initials in there somewhere. And it was crazy, but you all know of this. You know how this business gets in your blood. You love it. You love the kind of relationship you have with an audience. And we all know it here because the audience is our family here. This station reaches out into the community more than any other station in this city. And that's why the ticket keeps winning Marconi's. That's why you're the personalities of the year, for heaven's sakes. And it's been an honor to be here. It will be hard not being here. I have all of your emails. So you may get an email saying,
that's fine.
Did you consider this when you talked about this?
Bring it on.
That's fine. Yeah,
Lads
come on.
and cheers.
You got
All
the hotline number, call up.
All the lads and all the cheers.
By the way, the honor is on this side of the table, Norm. Trust us.
Yeah.
All the honor is over here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Been a privilege.
You paved the way.
Thank you, lads.
Tech just hit the ugliest field goal.
Boy, that's an ender right there. Fellas, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really
Thank
appreciate
you,
it.
Norm.
Thank you for sticking
Congratulations.
Bye, lads.
around. Our
Love you, Norm.
show announcement,
Salute.
Norm announces retirement next week. Next Friday will be Norm's last full-time day here, 10 to noon on The Ticket.
YouTube.com/@SportsGreek.